Hello folks, next video. Yes, this one is about in the UK right now there's a lot of concern about a digital ID that the government is again trying to bring out, and it's again down to Tony Blair, because Tony Blair tried to bring it out in the 90s and everyone said no chance at all, you can't do this, no. And Tony Blair's company, or whatever that he's doing right now, has suggested to the government that it's time to bring it out. So therefore, Starmer has suggested that yes, it may be time to bring it out. So, there's a lot of people unhappy about it. Why? Most people now use card rather than cash. In the UK, other countries probably about the same. Well, because they've been bringing it in, haven't they? In places that you shop now in the UK, most of those places have self-service tills. So they're trying to get rid of people. They're trying to get rid of cash. Half of the tills are card only. So they're trying to get rid of cash. Yeah, well, you go back 20 years ago, hardly anyone used a card. Everyone used cash. Now it's card. So therefore, you've got a passport, you've got your credit card or your debit card, you've got your driving license. What if you can have all of that on one card? Wouldn't it make sense rather than carry three separate things around? Yeah, if you're a traveller, you go to other countries, wouldn't it make sense to have your debit card, your passport and your driving licence all on the same thing? Yeah. It would. Plus, biblically, we've got the 666. And the 666 cannot come into play unless we have things like the identity cards. So therefore, you can see why they're coming in. You see, you can see why people are interested in that and why God is saying, okay, yeah, let's get them talking about that again. Is it going to come in this time? Probably not. No. Maybe not this time, but at some point in time, yes. Yeah. But as I say, the Word of God says that we should be expecting this. It's no good me, certainly for me, okay. It'd be no good for me to panic now about this. And say, oh my God, oh my identity cards, no. Oh. No, why? Because if I'm saying we're at a time where we're in the last days, that we see President Trump, who has the same nature as the Antichrist. In his nature of he wants to be worshipped and adored. He's a liar. He's a con artist. But he wants people to believe him. He wants to have all that power, that position, that authority, where the whole world is looking to every single thing he says. And he loves it. Oh yeah, pride is not a problem for the Antichrist character. They are highly proud. Oh yeah. So we have that. And we have many things that look as if we're in the last days. That we're coming right to the end. Well, if that's going to be the case, of course, we're going to have the 666. Well, having done videos before talking about that chip that it looks like they designed years ago that could go into the forehand, that can have all of your detail. Well, of course, as I said before, with the identity card, if you have an identity card that has all your details on most of it, that card can still be stolen because it's a card. It's a physical card that you carry around with you, and therefore it can still be stolen easily because it's a card. It can still be copied easily because it's a card. Something embedded in your forehand can't be easily stolen. They'll have to cut your hand off to do so. Or at least cut that out. But if it's made, so if it's cut out, it can never work again. If it's removed, it will die. Then there's no point in cutting it out. They'll have to cut the hand off. Right? Which would look a bit strange. Someone going into a shop or a bank with someone else's hand. So therefore, it's a far more secure way of doing things, isn't it? So we can only expect that to happen. Anyone who thinks it won't? No. No. We have to understand that it will. At some point. How it's going to look, we don't know. That's the point, we don't know. Will it be a chip in the forehand? Well, the Word of God says forehead or forehand. Forehead, don't know, because the problem with forehead is it's a damn sight easier. Right now, when you go into a shop, you hand your card, it's at hand level, isn't it? So it's far easier to scan the hand than it is the head. So therefore, I imagine it's going to be the forehand, left forehand, I do believe. So, identity card is not a problem. It's not something that we need to be concerned about or worried about in any way, shape or form. But again, there's a lot of people that will be. Well, a lot of people think it's about control. They think it's about keeping an eye on what we do and stuff like that. A lot of people are quite paranoid about government. And they should be, because it is partly about control and partly about keeping an eye on what people are doing. Yes, of course it is. Of course it is, yeah. Well, put it this way, if the only way that you can access anything or pay for anything is with this chip, if you are a terrorist and you want to use a fake account, you can't. Unless you can hack into your own chip. And again, there will be safeguards to make sure people can't hack into chips for any reason. The government could, but anyone who's not government, but again, that's the point. If the government can, then it means that anyone could actually design a similar system to be able to get into them. So yes, it could. But as I say, that's why it needs to have a system where, I don't know, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with all this, because right now we're not there. And again, even if that's the case, if the government can actually go in and change, who cares? So with us who are of God, we have to get to a point where we are led by God. Because the Word of God says you cannot have the 666 and the sign of God. You can't have the sign of the beast and the sign of God at the same time. And so, therefore, yes, anyone who is of God cannot take the sign of the beast. Therefore, if the mark of the beast would be a chip, they can't have it. They can't have it. So, they have to be led by God on how they're going to survive. How they're going to buy food, how they're going to pay for whatever it is they want to pay for. Yeah. Have a place to sleep. Have water. All these things. Especially now, water is something you have to pay for, isn't it? But that's the point. Be sensitive in the coming days. If you own a home, if God is suggesting to you that maybe you need to move to somewhere that has a river, yeah, on the property or a little lake or whatever, then go. Because you'll need water. And so if God tells you to go to somewhere that has that, do that. If God tells you to go somewhere that has, what's it called, the things on the roof, or a windmill to provide electricity, go there. you've got a natural supply of electricity. That's why right now it's very good we've got these things. Because it means we don't need to pay for that. That's something we don't need to pay for. That's something we don't need to chip for if you own one of these places. Right? Solar panels, that's it. Yeah. So if the place has got solar panels or wind farms or that sort of stuff on the property, and the property can actually therefore use the energy from that, then brilliant. Be sensitive to if God is trying to tell you to move to a place like that, because yeah. Or right now, if God is telling you to put that stuff on your property, do it. It is a very good idea to invest now for what's coming. Not out of fear. No. Completely in faith. Understanding that if we can do these things right now, and that can pay for certain things, great. If we can have water supplied to us and electricity supplied to us, that's two of the main things that we need to survive. Good. We need food. We need other things. But, yeah, there are ways. There are ways of doing that. But we have to look to God and be led by God. Because at that point when the 666 comes, when the mark of the beast comes, if you're doing things according to the world, you will have the mark of the beast. And, yeah. That pretty much should be all she wrote. Unless you dig it out. Whether that's possible, I don't know. So don't have it. The best choice is not to partake of that in the first place. But as I say, this is where right now most churches are of the world, means that, yeah, most people in churches will just do that. It's simple. It's simple. You don't have to do anything else. You do that. You can carry on as you were. And most people will just do it. So there you go. I wish you well. You take care. God bless. And don't